Welcome back, everybody. So the New York Knicks postseason is done. We're looking at these bum-ass Indiana Pacers in the finals. We lost to them in the conference finals 4-2, and it's been tough. I've been staying away from social media, but the haters are finding me on a text message, and it's all good because I would have did the same thing for them. This season wasn't like, it was still a success. Last year, the New York Knicks bowed out in the second round. This year, we reached the Final Four of the NBA, okay? So we were one step closer to a title, and I think that is progress that matters, okay? This was also year one of the new era. We traded for Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. They joined the family, while longtime New York Knicks, Julius Randle, spark plug Dante DiVincenzo, they were moved on in order to reshape the roster. Leon Rose pushed all of his chips into the middle of the table, and it paid off. MSG was rocking all season. The league started fearing this team again. The Knicks fans, of course, were going to be crazy. It felt like we tasted a legitimate title run, okay? But this is also an opportunity for us to look back on this 2024-2025 journey. First round of the playoffs, Detroit Pistons 4-1. We dominated the series. Jalen Brunson outclassed Cade Cunningham and the young Pistons. He averaged about 33 points. Defense smothered Detroit's inexperienced wings, no matter how physical they were. Karl-Anthony Towns had his best series as a Knick. He actually shot over 50% from three. And it was a statement series that we made. We don't mess around, okay? We don't play without food. In the second round, we had the Boston Celtics, and we beat them 4-3. That was a war. Heavyweight, 7-game thriller against the defending champs. Bridges locked down Jaylen Brown. OG Anunoby, put work in on Tatum for every bucket. Brunson and Hart willed Game 6 into existence with a vintage MSG performance. And Game 7 in Boston was pure grit. Towns hit the biggest shot of his Knicks career with a go-ahead three in about the last 2 minutes, I think. And the Knicks took down the reigning champs and sent shockwaves through the NBA. That's what we did this playoff run. In the Eastern Conference Finals, though, against the Pacers, we dropped to 2-4. Clock struck midnight. Halliburton controlled Pacers' blistering pace. We wore down in terms of our legs. That finally caught up to us. Brunson played through a little bit of a foot injury in Game 6. OG looked like a shell of himself in terms of the playoffs in Game 5. In the Knicks, we just couldn't recover. We couldn't generate enough offense outside of Brunson and Bridges. And Towns struggled with foul trouble against Indiana's smaller, faster lineups. So it was a bitter end, all right? But a revealing one. The Knicks are right there, but it feels like we're still one piece away. And it's funny because Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, raised up a little bit of a storm. Let's go back. Julius was traded for spacing and defensive depth. Dante DiVincenzo was moved to retool the roster for length and playoff poise. Karl-Anthony Towns was added, and he brought floor spacing at the 5. Drawing bigs out of the paint. Mikal Bridges joined his fellow Villanova brothers, giving the Knicks a complete 3-and-D wing who fit what we were trying to build in terms of our culture and our system. He fit that instantly. And the result was good. The Knicks, we ended up winning about 54 games, made the conference finals. We looked like a real title threat for the first time in decades. And then on this run, what would be a distraction? Giannis, okay? In his post-game interview, in a side interview, he said, New York is his favorite place to play. Oh my God, why'd he say that? Just one sentence, and now it's echoing, we're trying to get locked in on this playoff run. This isn't the first time, though, that a superstar has flirted with New York City. But this one is different. Giannis respects defensive culture, something that the Knicks now have under Tom Thibodeau. He wants to win and win with guys who compete. So think Brunson, think OG, think Bridges, think Hart. And Leon Rose actually has the picks and the contracts to make a serious pitch to Milwaukee if Milwaukee is a place that he doesn't want to longer be in. My prediction, it's a window. And I think we know that. When a window opens, you prepare to dive through it, especially a window like Giannis. Okay? Now, our season is over. So a lot of us are looking at the season now, rumors, but wondering how we could get better. You want to know how we could get better? Pursue Giannis or another disgruntled star. If he becomes available, you have to do whatever it takes, period. If he fits Tom Thibodeau's vision, he does, like a glove. It takes pressure off of Brunson on both ends. Second, you got to just evaluate Cat's long-term fit. He had highs and he had lows this postseason. He stretches the floor and creates space, yes, but he struggled defensively against faster teams like Indiana. If he's not the long-term guy, his contract is tradable and his value is high. Not a straight up type of high, but a centerpiece of a trade type of high. We also got to add bench scoring. Outside of Hart, the second unit needs juice. The Knicks, we need a true six-man, someone who can get their own shot. I know names like Malik Monk or even Bogdan Bogdanovic. Once again, this is popping up. And then we got to lock in OG, man. He is a free agent, and he's essential to what it is we do. Re-signing him must be the very first move that we do this summer. Unless he's included in a blockbuster trade like that. Also, we need a secondary creator behind Brunson. When Brunson sits or is injured, the offense stalls. So a combo guard or offensive-minded backup point guard is a must. Wondering if we already have that on a roster. But what's more important is that we got to keep the culture. We can't necessarily sacrifice Bridges or Hart or OG for a tier, unless it's for a tier 1 megastar. You know, the Villanova core has been the heart of the locker room. That brotherhood has been important to us establishing culture here. But I think ultimately the verdict is that there's going to be more steps that are needed. More progress is on the way. We're not just a feel-good story anymore. We're legit power in the Eastern Conference. Jalen Brunson is a superstar. This defense can be elite. MSG is humming and buzzing again. The front office has flexibility, assets, and credibility now. This team just reached the conference finals and is rumored to be on Giannis's short list if things unravel in Milwaukee. What world are we in? If that's not a win, what is a win? So I think what we're thinking about next year, I think next year is about finishing this job. Whether it's with Giannis, whether it's with another superstar that kind of comes available if we decide to move in a different direction, or if we decide to run it back with tweaks. The New York Knicks are no longer climbing the mountain. We're around the summit. We're looking around and we're thinking, only one team left to knock off. Let's go get them. All right? So, with that being said, man, Knicks fans, you should be positive. You should keep your head up. Obviously, we're going to do a lot of review. We're going to do a little bit of criticizing the team, trying to figure out how do we create these ills. We're going to hear a lot of chatter about fire Tibbs. Tibbs ain't going nowhere. All right, but keep your heads up. We had a great season. We had a good season, not a great season. Now the question is whether or not we'll have a good off season or a great off season. And I'm hoping for a great off season. If we get Giannis in here, it's a mother flipping problem. Will we be hurt by it a little bit? Yeah, maybe a little bit of a setback, depending on our depth. But isn't that what the Heat did? You know, you got a chance to get a 30-year-old Giannis Antetokounmpo. Stop playing with me. Stop playing. Keep this in mind, same thing applies to life that applies to our team. If there's no struggle, there's no progress. But remember this, whether it's out there in the real world or here in these YouTube streets, here in Knicks Daily, everybody eats. I'm your boy Sheer, and I'm out. Peace.